All right, Bears-Lions preview. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is a lot of fun for me. I appreciate this. This one was kind of a condensed week, trying to put things together pretty quickly, but I feel like there's some good things to point out from this game. And yes, I'm still homering over the Bears. Until we're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, I'm going to keep pulling for us. And that's one of the big topics of this week, as you see on the screen. There's Thomas Brown. There's Matt Eberflus side by side. One of the most polarizing topics for this fan base is getting Matt Eberflus out of office as soon as humanly possible, getting him out of the head coaching position and getting him gone. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen this week. You've got content creators, different people pandering, trying to get your clicks, saying they're going to fire him after the Lions game. It's not going to happen. It's just the Bears' way. We're going to keep him till the end of the season. We've got a rookie quarterback. You don't want to hurt him by shaking things up, by getting rid of the coach, changing a whole new system. Thomas Brown is working very well with Caleb Williams. Taking him out of that role would be detrimental at this point, and everyone kind of feels like Thomas Brown should be the interim head coach. Don't be shocked. Don't hate me. Don't hate the messenger. I just try to give you real takes. I don't want to pander for your clicks. I don't want to try to create fake bull crap that's just hypothetical all the time. I want to give you the realistic takes of where things are. And the reality of this situation is we already got rid of Shane Waldron. They dissected that situation. They figured out he wasn't cutting the mustard, and he wasn't. They've gotten rid of him. Well, we're still on a 5-game losing streak. That's a fact. The Bears have lost 5 games in a row. Nobody wants this spot. Nobody wants to be here. We're 4-7. We were 4-2. It felt really good, like we were heading in the right direction. And now everyone's kind of gearing for the offseason. You got to uncover the Lions. Sorry, Lions, we do respect you, but we're going to beat you. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm pulling for it. Right now, the Bears have a 99% chance of not making the playoffs if we lose this game. It's almost impossible. If we win it, it's still bad. It's right around 85 to 90%. I don't have the exact figures on me. I was looking at it. But the reality is, until the Bears are out of this, I don't know why they would shake things up so hard with a rookie quarterback. And Thomas Brown is doing very well with Caleb. So don't be shocked. Don't hate the messenger, but don't be shocked if Thomas Brown stays. Now, here's one shocking thing from me. I put this poll up this last week, and I'm going to share it. I am not attacking any person on here. I'm sharing the most popular views on the topic, okay? So here was the poll. As Bears fans, what would you most like to see as a 2024 result? This was before the last game. 4-13, Caleb regresses, but a high draft pick and a new head coach. I can't believe anybody picked that one. Draft picks are prospects. There is no guarantee on your draft picks. Look at Evan Neal. Look at Alex Leatherwood. Look at even Quentin Johnston in L.A. for the Chargers, dropping pass after pass, not being a first-round true prospect. You can't guarantee your guys in the first round are going to hit. It's never a guarantee. 8-9, Caleb improves. We missed the playoffs, but hire a new head coach. I am shocked that more people are more wanting to get rid of a head coach than make the playoffs. The whole point of football is you squeak into the playoffs, you dominate to the playoffs, then you get a chance to go on a run. Many wildcard teams have won the Super Bowl. If you're hot at the right time, you can win it all. If the Bears went and won out from here, if we won 6 straight games and made the playoffs, there's a really good chance they could make a run at it if you win 6 games against the Lions twice, the Vikings, the Packers, the Niners, and the Seahawks. If you run that table and you win all 6 and you're hot at the right time, your line is clicking like they were last week. Last week, the offensive line, and we'll get into that, was clicking like a playoff caliber line. The one weakness that's glaring and sticks out, we do not defend the run well, and we do not get pressure. We've got 2 guys, and maybe a third. Since Jacob Martin's been back, he's been playing really well, and I'm going to show that. Again, I'm not attacking anybody here. I'm just pointing this out. Number 3, 10-7 make the playoffs. Caleb breaks out, and we retain Eberflus. If we make the playoffs, and that means retaining Eberflus, that means he grew as a coach. That means these end-of-game things where he makes stupid, blundering mistakes are over with. So this one shocked me. This poll shocked me. I kind of thought it would be 50-50 here, but to see it 69-20, That's kind of crazy. And just some of the takes from it. Gator Bite said, the poll shows me the fans just want to be proven right, and it shows how selfish and ridiculous that is. In a perfect world, I would much rather see my Bears turn it around and our quarterback breaks out. You people are nuts. Again, I'm not attacking anybody with these takes, whether I agree with this one or I don't. Ken, the Zombie 420, wanting us to miss the playoffs just to confirm your own opinion is foolish and ridiculous. I'm amazed at all the B voters who would rather be correct than have this team go far. Canadian Shy Guy 23, to all the whiners saying option C should be 100%, I've got a Wayne's World quote for you. Yeah, and monkeys might fly out my butt. So he's saying it's impossible. So why not go for B, because C is impossible? And I can understand your take there. I'm not attacking any one person's take. Caleb is never going to break out under Flus, and Flus is never going to win you a playoff game, ever. Do any of you celebrate the year Matt Nagy took us to the playoffs and remember what that was nostalgia? Nope. B is sensible and goes in the right trajectory for a proper Super Bowl window. Mic drop. All right, I can see your point there. And again, I'm not attacking any one person's view here, because this fan base is one of the most polarized, one of the most intense, one of the most passionate fan bases in all of sports, in football especially. So I get what you're saying, but if they did this, then it does go exactly against what you're saying. And Flus learned some lessons, and he put this team in winning positions. Last, Flus needs to go no matter what. Caleb's development is number one priority, and I'm hopeful Thomas will get that done down the stretch. So I get all of your guys' points and viewpoints on all of that, but do not be shocked if Flus isn't fired after this game. Do not be shocked if he's not fired at the end of the season. Don't hate the messenger. I'm just telling you, there might be a more patient rope, a more patient leash, if we string some games together and win here. Now, obviously, if we win out and then make a deep playoff run, go to the NFC Championship game, nobody's going to want him fired. Well, that's not true. The Bears won't want him fired, but maybe some fans will come around on it. I'm not advocating for Flus. At this point, he's lost us several games he should not have lost us. He is a middle-of-the-pack coach that's coaching like a bottom-of-the-pack coach. So I'm not particularly stressed or impressed by him. I'm not saying he's the man. Not pointing that out at all. I'm just saying don't be shocked if it's not. Your content creators, your media analysts, all these guys push an agenda. Doesn't always line up with what reality is. All right, so let's jump into this division matchup this week against the Lions. You can see up top there. Let me move this is my little pointer I've started using. The logo is my pointer. Lions are 10-1, Vikings 9-2, Packers 8-3, the Bears 4-7. And look at the streaks here: 1-9, 1-4, 1-2, lost 5. We were right in the pack with this division, the most difficult, the toughest division in all of football, and we were right with all of these guys. We were right. We were one game away from the Packers. We were within a couple games of the Vikings and the Lions just 5 games ago when we were 4-2. So big stretch that really changed the trajectory of the season. But right here where I'm circling this point differential, that usually is a indicator of how strong a team is. If they're outscoring their opponents, that means the Bears are losing some close games. The NFC North is the only division in all of football to have every team with a plus differential. That's pretty huge. We have a tough division, so even if we play our best, it might be hard to make it in. We would basically have to sweep the division, sweep our remaining games the rest of the way out. See at the bottom there, here's our record with Matt Eberflus as our coach. We won the last game against the Lions. We should have won the one before, and they came back in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdowns. Improbable situation where Matt Eberflus blew the game for us. He played not to lose, which caused us to lose. We didn't put the pedal down. We didn't throttle it. But the Bears have met 18 times on Thanksgiving Day, with the Lions trailing the series 8-10. Detroit is on a 7-game Thanksgiving losing streak, including 3 against the Bears. Can they get past the number 1 overall pick and Caleb Williams on Turkey Day? This is from a Lions creator. And then Dan Campbell wants the Lions to snap their 7-game Thanksgiving game losing skid. So does his wife Holly. She's praying for a win because I'm a bear when we don't win. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, so here is those recent matchups. Here is all the last 3 the Bears have won. You see, this is in 2021, 2019, 2018. It used to be pretty consistent. We played the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. We haven't for the last 3 years. TJ Edwards said in his little podcast, or not his podcast, but his talking sip or whatever it's called with the Bears. The Bears put it out this morning that he has not played on Thanksgiving Day, so he's looking forward to trying to get the win and getting the turkey leg. So these guys are motivated, and it's a divisional game. It's in Ford Field, but in 2021, the Bears beat the Lions. 2019, the Bears beat the Lions, and 2018, the Bears beat the Lions. All very close games, more defensive battles back then. I think this is going to be more of an offensive battle, but you can see three different quarterbacks. 2021, it was Andy Dalton filling in. Mitch Trubisky in 2019. And 2018 was when Mitch Trubisky was hurt. That was Chase Daniel who filled in for us and won that game for us. Here's our schedule as it stands. You can see we won the first game of the season, lost 2, won 3, and then we hit the bye week, and we have not won since the bye week. That entire stretch right there, lost. So here we stand, Thanksgiving Day, against the Lions. And then we're going to have a mini bye, because you see between the 28th and the 8th, that's 10 days. And we go to San Francisco. And then another kind of shortened or lengthened window, because we play on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. So we'll get our rematch on Monday Night Football. So that'll be a fun one. I'm moving all over the place on this one, but here is the injury report. You can see Jaquan Brisker still out on IR. He's set to return on the 16th of December, so still a couple weeks away. Andrew Billings and Bill Murray can come back really soon. I think a lot of fans feel the same way. It can't come soon enough. Really, Andrew Billings, especially with the run defense. Elijah Hicks and Ryan Bates, this was yesterday's report. They are officially ruled out for the game. Both of them are ruled out for the game. Ryan Bates with his concussion, Elijah Hicks with his ankle. So both of them are out for the game. The Lions do have a couple players that are on their questionable list. Not really anything impactful. Most of them should play. Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, both expected to play, but have been listed on the injury list. But you look at this compared to a couple weeks ago. Let me move this over. Here's a couple weeks ago. Look at where we stood a couple weeks ago. I mean, so it's good that we're getting healthy. Look at all these. We had Amagaji, Brisker, Lewis, Sewell, Wright. All of them were out. And then limited. Kyler Gordon, Braxton Jones, Terrell Smith, Darrell Taylor, Ryan Bates, Tevin Jenkins, Montez Sweat. So we're getting healthy, which is good. This last stretch, we need to see what this team can do as we move in to the end of the season and towards the offseason. All right, well, make me a little smaller as we move into the meat and potatoes of the video. Here's my keys to beating the Lions, and I do believe the Bears can beat the Lions. I think they match up very well against them. A lot of fans have a lot of crap to talk about Jared Goff. I think he's a great quarterback. I'm not trashing on him. And you need a lot better pressure to get to Jared Goff, and you need a better system than the Tampa 2. The problem is the Lions are really good, and they mentioned that I think Eric Washington mentioned it in yesterday's press conference, that he gets the ball out quick and effectively. Very systematic and very similar to the way that the Bears are trying to get Caleb Williams rolling. So it's very similar in that manner. So the Bears need to have a lot more pressure, a lot more man off the line, pushing guys off the line, getting that initial bump. They need to be doing a lot more of that and a lot less of this zone. I don't see Matt Eberflus switching it up, though, because we got to jam them off the line to be able to get the sacks. We need the sacks in this game, and to do that, we're going to have to get pressure, both on the defensive line. We're going to have to really step up and start getting some pressure against Jared Goff, and we're going to have to cover against the run. They are one of the best running teams in the league with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and if we can't stop the run, force them to pass and get pressure on them, jam them at the line of scrimmage, and stop those wide open zones across the middle of the field with this Tampa 2, we're going to struggle. I don't see us being able to shut them down, so we're going to have to keep Caleb confident on offense. Continue hitting the easy and quick routes. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, even Rome Odunze. Hit them quick, get them on their out there. Same thing we're talking about Jared Goff. That's going to be a key to this game, and get the ball moving down the field. If there was ever an air raid attack game, their secondary is beat up. Their secondary is not their strength. We've got to attack them, and we've got to hit them hard and hit them fast. I'd like to see some more 12 personnel. I'd like to see some more Cole Kmet across the middle after he initially blocks and then releases. I'd like to see a lot more of that. What we'll get, I don't know, but they've got to hit guys early and often and keep the offensive line with the same effectiveness they've had the last couple weeks, and it's been really good. So start by looking right here at the bottom, Week 12 versus the Vikings. This is last week's pass block efficiency, and I did both teams this time to show it. So the Bears down here in orange, the Lions right here in blue, and that translates. So here's for the entire season. This is the entire season. The Lions are 14th with an 85.5, and the Bears are 18th with an 84.8. Very similar. And if you look at sacks and hits combined, the Lions have given up about 34, and the Bears have given up 34. The Bears have just taken a few more sacks, and that's pretty typical for a rookie quarterback. Jared Goff has been in the league for a decade. He's more able to get the ball out in some of those times where he'll still take a hit, but still release the ball. Caleb isn't, so he's taking less hits, but he's getting more sacks. So very correlated with these two teams and their offensive lines, how they've played with the season so far. But last week, against the Colts, they were the 21st ranked team. They are suffering a few injuries. They should be mostly healthy for this game, 81.2. But look at the Bears last week. They were the third best overall pass block efficiency team. 1 sack allowed. Caleb took a few more. 4 hurries, 5 pressures total for a 94.4. If the Bears can keep that up in this game, that is what you have to have for this team to be able to compete against the Lions. And the Lions are down several guys. DJ Reader's even possibly injured for this game. It sounds like he'll go, but he's possibly injured. Of course, everyone knows Aiden Hutchinson's out for the year. So there's an opportunity for the Bears to capitalize on a Lions team that's dominating everybody. But if we can keep this offensive line clicking the way they have been, it's a good opportunity. And I got to point this out. I put it on Twitter. Yes, I'm referencing my own tweet. But I put this out because everyone's still crapping on this offensive line. Guys, this offensive line is, I'm the only one that's been saying it this year. This offensive line is not as bad as everyone's making them out to be. It's not the weakness. Our defense is the weakness. Caleb's a rookie. There's going to be struggles. We had a terrible play caller. There was going to be some struggles. But look, this is for the season. This isn't just the last game. Let's get rid of that. This is not just the last game. Here is the entire season. Braxton Jones is 17th ranked out of 65 tackles with a 75.4 grade. And that translates right over there. Okay, so there's Braxton Jones with his total offensive grade. I'm going off pass blocking for this one. Look how good that pass. Every one of them, these starting 5 are in the blue right there. Every one is between 71 and 80. And that is well above starter status. And you look right here on the offensive total grade. I'm just got to point this out to be fair to the line. Tevin Jenkins, 11 out of 61 guards. Coleman Shelton, 10 out of 29 centers. This is those who qualify, so at least half the snaps for the team for the year so far. Matt Pryor, 23rd out of 61 guards. And Darnell Wright, 20th out of 65 guards. And if you take the last 5 games as a total, Darnell Wright is like 5th out of all tackles. And Tevin Jenkins is like 8th out of all tackles. So I don't know. Maybe it's time for fans to realize it's not just one thing, it's not just the other, but the true consistency of the team. This offensive line is actually pretty good. I would love to see us retain Bill Murray next year. He's very limited in his time, but then he got injured. But the line is not the problem here. It's just developing offensive play calling, getting cohesion. Some guys have been out on different weeks, and sometimes they have to fill in, but the cohesion, this same starting 5 should start this week. The same 5 that started last week, and that led to good results. I liked the cohesion they had in that game. All right, I'm going to take me completely off as we compare the two quarterbacks just so you guys can see the whole stats here. This is how both of them perform under pressure, kept clean under pressure, blitzed and not blitzed. And every quarterback is going to struggle more under pressure, and this is where a key to the game comes in. The Bears have got to get Jared Goff under pressure. We've got to jam the guys at the line. Sorry, I have to bring me on. It's hard to talk without being able to see me. At least I'll make me small. We got to jam guys at the line and make it so those quick throws are not his bread and butter. We've got to make him work for his passes because you see when he's under pressure, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 49.8 overall grade. Even Caleb under pressure is 48.5, and he's a rookie, but it causes multiple problems. The fumble grade for him is 25.7 for the year when he's under pressure. So Caleb, every quarterback's going to struggle more under pressure, so it's just a clear and obvious thing. Yes, we need to get him under pressure. That's an obvious thing. But if the Bears want any chance of winning this game, we've got to jam guys at the line of scrimmage. We've got to stop them. We've got to stop the receivers because they have a very talented core. We've got to stop them at the line of scrimmage. And we've got to be able to get pressure on Jared Goff. So it's kind of an obvious thing, but I just wanted to show how these two quarterbacks compare. I'm not going to go over every stat in detail, but I'll leave it up there so you guys can see it. And then let's look at our own quarterback and his tracking. As most know, he passed the rookie record for the Bears on overall yards for the season. 2193 was the old record. We're at 2356. On pace for 3641. 3838 is the Bears record for any quarterback, and 4000 is that thing that we want to pass so the league quits talking about how the Bears have never had a quarterback throw for over 4,000 yards. Same thing with 30 touchdowns. We've only had 29. That's the Bears record. On pace right now for 17. 11 is the rookie record, and Caleb tied that last week. Completion percentage, it's coming up. It was above 67% for several games there where he had a good click. 62.6 for the season, not terrible, but we need to have it keep coming up, and he's doing a good job, so he's going to keep rolling with it. Next, we got our receivers, how they're comparing. Bring me down a little bit. Showed this before, but here's DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Cole Kmet on pace for 875, 613, 808, 801, and 652. If we keep rolling, those numbers should keep coming up as well. All right, so here's how the two compare offensively and defensively. The Bears on offense have scored 20.1 points per game. So because of our last game, we came up a little bit. But as an offensive team, we are a bottom tier in the league except for one area, and that's for turnovers. And really, last game's turnover wasn't on offense. We had 8 before last week. We should be at 8 still, but 9, that was on special teams. That was DeAndre Carter, whose leg touched the ball. That's considered a turnover for the team. Goes an offensive stat, but shouldn't be on. It's not on Caleb. Caleb doesn't. He only has 5 interceptions on the season, so it's not on Caleb. And the Lions are good at getting turnovers on defense, but their defense isn't as staunch in the pass. So you can see this is where I'm talking about, where we need to have an air raid attack. The Bears are only getting 214 air yards a game, but the Lions are defending 227.2 yards per game. So if the Bears want to win this game, we got to air it out. We got to get the air raid attack going, and we can put some yards up on them. They are allowing the 12th most yards, but they're shutting down the run. So here's what I'm talking about with the run. Same as the Vikings last week, and we did a good job of executing our game plan. At the bottom here, you can see Caleb has not thrown an interception in 5 straight games and only 1 interception in the last 8 games. So Caleb is doing his part. He's doing very well as a rookie. On the other side of the ball, the Bears defense is stronger, but they need to step it up. The Tampa 2 has not been working, and our numbers keep going down. We were ranked better than this earlier on. Our rushing yards per game, 129.7. The Lions, 150.8, 4th in the league. In fact, their offense is probably the most high-powered offense in the league. They turn it over the least, one of the least, tied for 7th, only 10 turnovers. The Bears do create turnovers. They have 18, but we need to pick some balls off. Jared Goff had 5 interceptions a couple weeks ago, but really in the last 8 weeks, he's only had 5 interceptions. So it was one bad game. If we want to get to him, we got to get pressure. We got to jam him at the line. I'm going to say it over and over again. The Lions are leading the league in points per game, 32.7. They have been blowing some teams out. Yards per game, 2nd with 394.3. So it's going to come down to an offensive shootout if we're going to win this game. We've got to stop them as much as we can, try to limit them down, hold them 20s, 25, 26 points-ish, and then outscore them. And that's the only way we're going to beat the Lions. I know this is really small, but sorry, Jalen Johnson, I'm going to cover up your head. Just know that bottom one is Jalen Johnson there. I need room for me to talk, though. But up top here, Terrell Smith, middle, Tyreek Stevenson, bottom, Jalen Johnson. Okay, Tyreek, Terrell, and I know this is tiny, so I'm going to explain it. But these stats are for this year. And it is clear and obvious that after the Washington game, Jalen Johnson has been struggling. Here's the Washington game right here. And you look at everything across the board for him, all his numbers are down. The only thing that's stayed steady for him and decent is his run defense. We need better tackling out of him. He's allowed a couple to slip by, and his coverage grades have been terrible since then. Started out the year decent. This year, he's allowed a 69.3 NFL pass rating against. And you might say, well, that's pretty good, and it is pretty good. But you look at these last games, 131.9 last week, 95.8, 93.8, 84.0. It's very not Jalen Johnson-esque. And if you guys watched his press conference, he seemed irritable. He seemed frustrated. And I just don't think he's where he needs to be. And he's got to get his head back into it. He's got to fix his issues, because this feels like Jalen Johnson when he wasn't, a couple of years ago, when he wasn't proving he deserved the contract, and we questioned, well, can he earn that contract? Well, you need to do it in 2023, and then he did it last year. Now he's kind of struggled back a little bit. Tyreek Stevenson this entire year has been a struggle for him. It's not just after the Washington game. A lot of people were saying, well, the Washington game, and then he had a great game against Tennessee, and that was the difference. And then he came back as a bounce-back game against Arizona. Other than that, he has not been up to snuff. It has not been a good year for him. 3 touchdowns allowed, 1 interception, 7 pass breakups. Even Jalen Johnson allowed a touchdown so far, but Terrell Smith needs to be pointed out. And look right here. He did get 47 total snaps last week compared to 25 for Tyreek Stevenson. So like I said, we need to see him get more reps. He did, in fact, get more reps, and I hope he continues to, because Not the best game last week, but overall for the year, he has a 65.6, which is actually better than Jalen Johnson, NFL pass rating against him. He hasn't allowed any touchdowns. He only has one pass breakup, but he also has the interception. He's better at man coverage as well. He can hug the hip and stay with the guy a lot better than both Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. Now, Jalen Johnson normally isn't bad, but the last couple weeks, the last 3 or 4 weeks, he has had separation against him that hasn't been clean. Overall for the year, his separation looks fine, but Tyreek Stevenson has been clear and obvious. His separation against Green Bay, there were a couple plays where I was pointing out on the live feed. I was just like, what are you doing? Like, you are you're lost out there. You don't know what you're doing out there, and we have to have our corners be locked down. It's one of the biggest reasons we're on this 5-game skid. Teams are starting to pick our corners apart, and the Tampa 2 is not living up to it. It's not working right now. Hand in hand with that is the pressure. Now, I want to point out, because there's a couple things going around Twitter right now, guys. Number one, Gervon Dexter versus Jalen Carter. So I'm going to address that in this one. Jalen Carter is clearly a better defensive tackle. But maybe it's not so clearly. Maybe it's not clear. Gervon Dexter is playing really, really well this year. And yes, I'm referencing my own tweet again. There's that one. Then it's the whole Eberflus firing thing. I get it. Nothing I can do about it, so I'm not going to sit here and hyper-focus on it. I just want to see the team succeed, and I love that Thomas Brown is here. And then the other one is Keenan Allen and extending him. Like, that's going to work itself out at the end of the year. I've mentioned a couple times a 2-year, $30 million deal is a steal for Keenan Allen with his Hall of Fame trajectory, with how he's done for Caleb Williams on and off the field, a third down guy who absolutely connects and makes things work. But let's focus here on the pass rush. So I'll have a couple here with the pass rush. I'm going to focus on showing the Gervon Dexter thing, though. As we know, we traded down one spot from 9 to 10. The Philadelphia Eagles selected Jalen Carter. We selected Gervon Dexter in the 53rd. So this is what I said. They were talking about how Jalen Carter is so much better than Gervon Dexter, and the Bears regret not taking him. Well, and it's not just this. We took Darnell Wright, who has been the top 5 tackle the last 5 weeks and is really stepping up again now that he's been healthy. So we got Darnell Wright, we got Gervon Dexter at 53rd overall, and then we took Torrey Taylor with the extra pick. So I'm really just going to compare Gervon Dexter. And for those who don't know, Torrey Taylor has pinned teams within the 20-yard line 23 times this year, and that is the 7th best in the league. Last year, Trenton Gill was 25th best in the league last year at doing that. So out of 32 teams, 25th. This year we're 7th best at pinning them within the 20-yard line. So, I mean, there's a reason we picked him. I didn't love the pick, as most of you know in the beginning, but I've come around to it. But here's Gervon Dexter versus Jalen Carter this year. Gervon Dexter, 33 total pressures, 4 sacks. 3.3% missed tackle rates on the run. So when they defend against the run, and that's right here. So this is against the rush, or this is pass rush. Down here is their run defense. So here's missed tackles when the run is called, when a run play is called. Gervon Dexter is one of the best in the league at 3.3% missed tackle, which is really good. He's only missed 1. Jalen Carter is at 9.1% missed. Okay, now against the pass rush, against the getting pressure, Jalen Carter is one of the best in the league. I'm not going to deny that, but it's not like we have a scrub. 35 tackles, 0 penalties, 7 PRP, which is PFS metric for pressures and the type of pressures obtained on any given pass rush. 10.6% win rate. Jalen Carter, 35 total pressures, so 2 more. 3.5 sacks, so half a sack less. Worst tackling, 30 tackles, 3 penalties, so he's been penalized more. 5.8 PRP, so less pressures generated, and a 12.8% win rate, so a better win rate on his pressures. One was taken 9th overall, the other 53rd overall. So am I saying Gervon Dexter is better than Jalen Carter? No. But it's like comparing a Granny Smith apple and a Red Delicious apple. They're both apples. They're both doing really, really well. And there's no reason the Bears would regret not taking Jalen Carter because Gervon Dexter has been a highlight for this team. He's one of the biggest reasons we stay in on defense. If we didn't have him and Montez Sweat, we would be in trouble. So let me just get to the overall pressure. And this is what a lot of people are going to realize. When I talk about next year's draft and I create the mock draft, guys, and I put us taking a defensive tackle and a defensive end first, it's absolutely a must for us. We are lacking on the defensive line first and foremost. Our offensive line, as I showed you guys earlier, is not terrible. It's not that bad. Yes, we need to continue to improve it. Yes, we need depth. That's been our biggest problem. We should absolutely pick 2 or 3 guys in next year's draft and pick up Trey Smith from the Chiefs as a guard. We should do everything we can to improve, but our biggest deficiency and the biggest need coming up in this upcoming draft will be the defensive tackle and defensive ends. So I'll move me off and I'll show you. This is for the season. This is week 12. Here's the pressures and here's the run defense. Jacob Martin has absolutely been a heaven sent when he's been healthy and back. He's only played 5 games, okay? 30 total run defenses, 71.1. This last game, though, much worse, back to where he was before. I told you guys when we signed him, he's a liability against the run. Well, he's played a little bit better this year, and I like that. And I would be very open to re-signing him if he can finish out the season the way he's played to start this year. Here's last week's. Oop, made that way too small. See if I can fix that. Last week, week 12, the pressure. Jacob Martin led the team with a 13.6 PRP. Jervon Dexter, DeMarcus Walker, who's actually been very good too. I need to give DeMarcus Walker more credit. Montez Sweat right down there. Byron Cowart's up there as well, who's hit or miss. As you can see, Byron Cowart on the year, not as great, 5.2. It's not someone that I would want to re-sign, but he's filled in a pinch, and he's been okay. And DeMarcus Walker with a 5.5. Really solid when you combine that with his run defense. He's been the best run defender. If you guys remember the last game, he was the one that held up the leg of Aaron Jones, and then Jonathan Owens came and stripped the ball away. So DeMarcus Walker has been our best run defender by far, which is why you see him in on every snap. So, but overall, oops, sorry about that, guys. Overall, I got to take me back off. It's hard for me to not show myself on here, though. And Dominic Robinson has played very well against the run for the year. He's only 22 snaps, but maybe we need to get more opportunities for him. I'm not sure on that one because I haven't been the biggest Dominic Robinson fan. But if he's improving, I'm all for it. Let's see if we can keep improving him on limited samples. But Montez Sweat, Darrell Taylor, Jervon Dexter for the season this last week. Here it is. So here's our best run defenders for the season. DeMarcus Walker, Jervon Dexter, Byron Cowart, Zach Pickens, Montez Sweat. And you can see Montez Sweat needs to do a little bit better too. But this last game he did do a little bit better. Or that's for the season. The last game he didn't do good. So Montez Sweat, Jervon Dexter, Jacob Martin for the season, DeMarcus Walker. That's really the only 4 guys I would keep right now. Really, is those 4 guys. Jacob Martin, Jervon Dexter, Montez Sweat, and DeMarcus Walker. And only 2 of them are true starters, Montez Sweat and Jervon Dexter. So to relay it back to this game, what we need is we need all these guys to step up again. We need Jacob Martin to have a big game. We need Dominic Robinson, if he's asked to step in. But Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Jervon Dexter, they all need to get their snacks. They need to get pressure quick and often. They need to play like they did in the second half. The second half was a lot better than the first half in this last game, and it led to good results in the second half. You see how the whole team did better. You keep the offense clicking with the defense doing their job, so it all compacts into each other. All right, sometimes when the analytical stuff comes on, I get a little bit nerdy and I get a little long-winded. But here's the odds by Vegas Sportsbook and ESPN Predictor for this game. They've got the Lions beating the Bears by 10 points. Same with ESPN. Started at 10.5. They're at 10 points now. 48.5 is the over-under. I would bet the over on that. Matchup predictor, though, they've got the Lions with a 76.2% chance of winning. If you watch the NFL preview video, Adam Rank is the only one to pick the Lions. Everyone else is picking the Bears. Everyone else is picking the Lions. Before the season started, you see the circular one here. This was the 3-game stretch we had in 11 days. So this is the 3rd game in 11 games for the Bears. And they were favored. The Lions were favored by 4 when the season started. I had us losing 21-24. So yes, I'm capable of predicting the Bears to lose, but not this week. Not this week. The Bears are going to win it. We're going to pull the offense out. We're going to absolutely get everything rolling, and the Bears will get the win, the upset win. 34-31 is my prediction because I think we're going to have a hard time stopping them with the lack of ability and availability on our defensive line. We just don't have the tools to shut high-powered teams like this, but the offense is going to get clicking, and we're going to retain Eberflus. I just don't hate the messenger. Don't hate the messenger. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. This is a fun game for me. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go live. Let me know if you guys want me to go live in the comments. I'll probably be holed up in a hotel room for the morning before Thanksgiving starts, so I'm able and capable of doing it. I don't know if I'm going to do it. So let me know what you guys think, though. Let me know if you think of this game. Do you think we have a shot? Most people are really predicting us to be like lose by 15, 20 points. I think this will be a close game either way. Do I really think the Bears are going to win it? I'm not expecting it. I'll say that. I'm not expecting the Bears to win this game. Could we do it? Absolutely. With the way Caleb's playing, with the way things are with Thomas Brown, with how he's learning, his trajectory, he's really elevating his learning fast. He's doing a really good job. I'm really happy with him as our quarterback. So I'm very pleased. I think we have a shot for sure in this game, and I'm going to be rooting for it. Anybody rooting against the Bears right now, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because it's absolutely time to go all in on the team. The draft is just the draft. It's just an opportunity to pick players. The players right now need to play to their best capability. Next year they can address some things. We can hit some things in free agency again. We can hit some draft picks, but the team really just has to gel and cohese. So I'm excited for tomorrow, Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Those who are spending it with family, those who are traveling, safe travels, please. And enjoy the game, and let me know if you want me to go live for it. And until next time, da Bears and bear down.